On your left.
On my left. Got it. Don't say it. Don't you say
On
it.
your left.
Come on!
What's up, guys? It's Quinn.
It's Will.
It's Adam.
It's Iconic Comic, and we are back with... I just said it like a radio guy. We are back.
No, it sounded normal.
Listen to it. It
You're
sounded
your biggest critic.
back. I know. It's good. It's why the channel's where it's at. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's up, guys? It's Quinn.
It's Will.
It's Adam.
It's Iconic Comic, and we're back with the On Your Left podcast. This is episode 18, and normally, most of the time, we don't have a plan going into these, but today, since we're on kind of a Harry Potter kick lately, we decided, and we're doing the movies right now, as in our commentaries, we decided to rank all 8 movies, not the books, all 8 movies, and kind of give some whys and why nots. So, who wants to go first? We're going to start from the bottom of our lists
I think it should
and
be
work
you,
our
Pat.
way up. Me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well,
This is number 8.
number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8, I have Order of the Phoenix.
Really?
The reason being, I think if that movie does not have the fight with Dumbledore and Voldemort at the end, or basically the Order of the Phoenix and the Death Eaters at the end, the movie is so boring. I'm not talking about the books. Man, let's make this clear. The movie is super boring. It's got maybe one of the worst characters in it in Umbridge. Like, she's a good villain, but I personally I don't even like. She's almost too good of a villain that I don't even like to watch it.
That's why
Like,
I love the movie.
And they killed off Harry's last bit of family that he
that
had.
was a good move. I think
That's
it was
not a
great
good move. I hated that.
I feel like it was a good move.
I feel like if J.K. could go back, she would change that idea because
No.
Harry has nobody left.
Okay.
Nobody. Like, at least have him
So
have
that means-
somebody.
Okay, I want to kill all your family, and I want to see how you feel about it. Right?
Well, let me explain. Like, I feel like this is pushing him more towards, all right, I need my friends now.
First of all, this is an opinion, so I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know, but it's like, no, this is why. I'm like, no, this is why. Like,
What I think is great about this movie is that the rest of the movies are all about Hogwarts, really, and Voldemort and Harry, all that stuff. But this movie delves into, like, Harry's psyche. Like, he's struggling with Voldemort.
okay, that's fine, but I also feel like, I don't know. I just, it's my opinion. Moving on.
All right.
Who wants to go next? They're
Mine.
number 8.
I'll go 8. Mine's Chamber of Secrets. That's
Mine's
mine.
also Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
Well,
I
then,
love
discuss.
this movie.
Yeah.
We recently just watched it, but I feel like
Jesus.
I love the other movies more than Chamber.
Well, yeah, so like I don't dislike Order of the Phoenix. I like it. It's just it's not on the top of my list. It's the thing. None of these are bad movies.
Chamber's just one of the ones that's like, I never like to skip, but if I'm gonna skip,
It feels like the movie where you're like, all right, let's get to Prisoner.
yeah,
like, let's
let's
get to
just
the
get
next
this
one.
going.
I do, however, think it's an underrated one. People don't talk about it a lot. They normally do what you guys do, skip.
I feel like people give it a little bit. I think people are a little too hard on it sometimes, but yeah, that's definitely low. So for me, number 7 is Chamber of Secrets. Funny enough, it's usually flip flops between Chamber and Order. Which ones we're at the bottom? Because there's this thing, like, not to go back to Order, but like I said with Chamber, like, you're just trying to get to Prisoner. Like Order, you're just trying to get to Half-Blood Prince. Like, you're just trying to get to the big stuff, like Dumbledore dying, you know, the Horcruxes. It feels like 5. The story of 5 in the movies feels a lot like they could have done it in like 3 chapters. Not the book, the movies. Like the movies, it's literally like the entire movie is just him trying to keep Voldemort out of his head and learning how to do that until it gets to the end, and he didn't even listen to all the advice that had been given him the whole movie. Like, no, don't listen to the stuff in your head because it's a trap, Harry. Actually, if he never went there, Sirius wouldn't have died. Like,
Yeah.
so, but Chamber of Secrets is very similar on my list for the same way. I just think it's a movie where I enjoy. There's parts of it that I really like. It's the first Horcrux that you see and gets destroyed. Really, the first time you see a legit form of Voldemort. Like, the one on the back of Quirrell's head is like barely Voldemort. Like, he's just basically using him as a leech.
Parasite.
A parasite, basically, yeah. But in, like, Chamber, you do get to see, like, a full standing younger version, and basically if Ginny would have died, he would have pulled off what he wanted to pull off in Goblet earlier, which was use a Horcrux and use a piece of his soul that's been trapped somewhere else to finally come back in his full form. So that's my number 7.
You should go.
My 7, Order of the Phoenix. So I
Same,
flip-flop.
same, really?
So yeah, I'm just not a big fan. There's just not that much.
Not a lot happens in the movie
that I want to watch. Again, Dolores, I hate her. I just hate watching her, just like you said. Even though she's a good villain, it sucks watching her.
And the ending, again, not talking about the books, the ending of it saves that movie.
Yeah. That is an amazing battle.
Oh my god. But again, if you take that out and, like, there was no big battle at the end.
It's like, what?
Wow,
we
well, that was a waste of
sit
time.
there for 2 hours. Like, it's good because Harry and I love watching them, but it's just not.
I think the best stuff in Order of the Phoenix is actually probably the actual, like, Dumbledore's army stuff. But even that, I don't love all the, what's the word? The montages they do in the movie. They do like 3 or 4 different montages where they like there's like music playing in the background. It's just hopping from scene to scene, showing a bunch of stuff.
Now I do.
I'm not a huge fan of montages. I like long set pieces.
I do like the scene in Hogsmeade where he's like, "You guys just don't know what that's like to face people that are trying to kill you."
That's a good speech.
That's a good speech. So
all of it sounds great when you say it like that.
My number 7. Y'all gonna hate me. You especially. I put 6.
Oh my goodness! No.
The reason why I do not like this movie is because all the awkward comedy in this movie.
They did make it go very rom-com.
I
with
put
it. 5
above 6 because of that reason. I think 5 is a better movie, but I'll get to that when we get to 6.
I think, I will agree that there's a lot of like rom-com stuff that definitely wasn't in the books. But again, we're not talking about the books, we're talking about the movies. But it feels like most of that movie is trying to be really dark, and it's not because of all the funny moments and like but they're fun. They are funny, like but all the different moments in the movie, like but I am the chosen one, like that stuff.
I love that.
And then. But then it gets to the end, and then it forces it like, okay, we do have to get dark really fast because Dumbledore's about to die in like 20 minutes.
That's why I don't like. Like
they feels so abrupt.
I feel like the dark stuff is kind of forced, and the main stuff is the comedy aspect.
I love Slughorn as a character.
Well, yeah, I like him
and
too.
he's just like how he likes to collect students, like, and how Harry, his whole purpose in that movie is to get collected by him,
so they can learn more about Voldemort.
Ugh.
All right.
Okay.
Number 6.
My number 6 is Deathly Hallows Part 1.
What? Really?
Yeah, Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Really?
I like this movie, but I think it's pretty slow in a lot of parts because they basically took like the first like 80% of the book and put it in Part 1, and then they took the last 20% of the book and made it into Part 2. So they had to cram a lot of story in, which causes a lot of slowness in parts, a lot of just silent and sitting down and talking scenes, which a lot of them work. I like a lot of them, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like it wasn't paced very well, and I enjoy the build up because I actually do think because it's like that part. That's the reason Part 2 is so good. Because you don't have to do much build-up for Part 2 because it was all done in Part 1. But, again, we're moving into the middle of the list now, so I'm not saying this is a bad movie.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's a good movie. It's just not as good as some of the other ones, I think, because pacing and they cram a lot in that one movie. But I like it, though, because they're kind of all on their own. There's no school. There's no teachers to help them. They're kind of just rolling with it, doing stuff on their own.
That's what I like about this movie. I like how slow it is. Because I feel like the end of 6 was real fast.
Yeah, they rushed the Dumbledore stuff because, they rushed it a lot, and they skipped the whole battle in the astronomy tower. Like, there was a whole fight scene in the books of them. But, again, not talking about the books, talking about the movies.
Well, that's what I liked about Part 1, because they kind of, like, slow-rolled it, sort of. And they actually focused on, like, how the characters are coping with them not being at Hogwarts. That's what I liked about it.
6 for you.
You guys are not gonna like me, but it's okay.
Don't say 3.
I'd put number 4, Goblet of Fire.
I respect that. Okay. I'm not.
So Goblet.
It's about in the middle of the road for you.
Yeah, Goblet for me was just. I liked it. Like, it's good. And I feel like every time I watch it, I find something new to like about it. But it's just. I just don't like it as much as the other movies.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Like, I love all
It's more on this part of your list because the other movies are better to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Okay,
not
better
because
to
this
me.
movie's
All right.
bad.
No, like the whole like fight scene where Voldemort comes back.
Oh, God.
and, like, that's like amazing.
So good.
But I almost look back at the way Order happened. It has that awesome ending, and I know the challenges are awesome, but I feel like it can get slow at parts in those when they're trying to figure out the challenges and everything like that. So that's why I ranked it lower.
All right. My number 6 is 5. So just one up from your guys' stuff. Yeah, from you. No, it's from you too. You put your 5 in.
Order of Phoenix
7.
was my very last one.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I thought I like 5, because of what I was talking about before. It's going into the psyche of Harry. It's not necessarily focusing on like the big picture. It's focusing on him.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we talked a lot about Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like, there's been a lot of
Because
time.
there's a lot to talk about.
Well, it's a very sore subject for a lot of people. Okay, my number 5, Sorcerer's Stone.
Really?
Or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're
Huh.
from. That's my number 5.
Really?
I would have expected you to put it higher.
So it's basically
I mean, this is 4,
about in
so-
the middle. It's about in the middle of the road for me. I enjoyed a lot. It's one of my favorites. I can always watch it. But after watching the later ones, it's sometimes hard to go back to that really kiddie tone.
Okay.
I love honestly, what I love about that movie more than anything is like the first hour. First hour of that movie is great. I think it gets a little slow in the middle when they're doing some of the other stuff, like right around like after the Quidditch match and stuff. It gets kind of slow until the end. It picks up again. But I mean, it's the first movie, so it's still good. I love the first hour. I love him discovering he's a wizard and his whole past and what he is. Great scenes. I just don't think the kiddiness of it holds up as much after you've watched the darker ones a lot. So that's my number 5.
I'm gonna hold in my comments on yours. So
Okay. I'm gonna say my comments on yours.
Okay.
I feel like it's refreshing to go back to where we see a Harry that doesn't really know who Dumbledore is, or not Dumbledore, who Voldemort is really.
Okay. No, I agree. That's why I like the first hour more than anything in that movie.
all right, so we're on 5.
Yeah.
So I put part 1. So I'm pretty
Part
close.
1? Okay.
It's just it gets slow, really slow in parts. Yeah, the storytelling's really like good, but I feel like they could have added a little more action because really there isn't that much action in part 1
Until the very end.
Yeah.
And honestly, in the book's the same way. The majority of the action doesn't happen until towards the end of the book, right around the stuff at Malfoy Manor and
I also
the
hate-
Gringotts stuff.
Hate that they killed Dobby.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but actually, that's one of the reasons it's one of my favorites because they went there and they, that's a death that I'm okay with because I think that was a death. That was like the first death in like I would say not the Battle of Hogwarts, but the battle for the Horcruxes, the battle against Voldemort that wasn't like earlier in the books, just random, some Death Eaters killing people or whatever. I'm talking like this was the first time Harry was like, okay, people are gonna die in this battle, and that's kind of like the reasons he makes choices
I
in
just
part
don't
2.
like how he was killed. I felt like there could have been a better way to do that.
See, I think cinematically, because you think first time you watch it, like, oh, they got out of there. And then the camera turns over and Dobby's just standing there with the knife. I'm like, no.
Like, because I feel like anybody else, if they got hit with that, they would be fine.
Yeah, but he's so tiny.
Tiny.
All right, my number 5 is 4, Goblet of Fire. I just think the other movies are better than this one. I did like the Triwizard Tournament, or technically the Quad Wizard Tournament.
Again, they keep calling it the Triwizard Tournament throughout the whole movie, and I'm like, there's more of them there.
Yeah. Well, because normally it is a Triwizard Tournament.
Right, but like...
Harry. So screw that all up.
It wasn't Harry's fault though.
Yeah, obviously.
Everybody's like, Harry,
You put your hand in the Goblet of Fire.
Like Ron's mad at him. Like everybody's like so confused. Like I'm like, why? Like you really think Harry could have done that?
Well, I'll just bounce off that because my number 4 is Goblet of Fire.
Okay.
I love this movie. Actually, I really, really like this movie a lot. To me, I think it's some of the coolest magic that we've seen so far in the series visually because they change it. They like the first couple movies, other than like the Patronus charm and Prisoner. The first couple movies, it all looks really like kiddie magic, like the way the spells come out of the wands. It's like super like glowy and stuff, and make weird like noises, like when Snape does Expelliarmus and
Expelliarmus.
When he does that in Chamber, like it looks so goofy compared to what it looks like later.
Yeah.
It looks more like Bass in like, the older movies.
But then the Triwizard Tournament, I love the challenges. My favorite challenge is still the Dragon Challenge, very first one. I love that one. The Water Challenge is kind of whatever.
That's where I think I lose interest in the movie.
Really?
Lose interest in the movie or the tournament?
More the tournament.
Because there's a lot of good stuff that happens in that movie. Like I actually think the whole I love the stuff when they're getting ready for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, the whole movie is honestly, which is why I'm not sure why they went back to it so much on Half-Blood, even though I like Half-Blood Prince a lot. This movie is like a coming-of-age movie, way more than the first 3 were. Goblet of Fire is like, how do we talk to girls? Like how do you even ask them out? Like, there's this whole scene where Harry's walking with Ron. They're trying to figure out how to ask somebody to the ball.
Get them alone?
It's like he's like, and how do you break them off from the herd to ask one of them? Like, how do you even do it? Like, so I enjoy and that's honestly why the books and the movies are so popular, is because they are coming-of-age stories. This is the first time you felt that teen angst. Like
those are my favorite kind of movies, is the coming of age movies.
Well, because it's relatable.
Yeah, like especially because I'm at like that
Teenage age.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do your number 4? Are we on number 4?
Yeah,
he
number
already
4.
did his number 4. Oh, it's me. My number 4 is number 3.
Number 3.
Prisoner of Azkaban. Even though my favorite character gets introduced in this movie, it is still the ones that I put ahead of it. I just have to put it here. Like, it's an amazing time travel movie. Like, but I kind of get bored when they're going back through.
See, I love that.
I love that.
That reminds me so much like Back to the Future too.
Yeah.
Where when you're seeing stuff again, and it's like, oh, well, that's why it happened. Like that's why Lupin ran away.
No,
that's
like
why
the first couple times I watched it, but like after like my 50th, 100th time watching it, it kind of gets
old.
Yeah.
It actually, to me, it enhances both parts when you go through it the first time and then when they time travel. Because when you go for the first time after you've already seen it, you go, like, when those little shell things get thrown into Hagrid's, I'm like, oh, that's Hermione out there throwing those things right now and stuff like that.
I'm not saying I hate it, because obviously it's my number 4.
But you just like the other ones more.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 4 is 1, Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay.
I only put it there because, like we said, I think the other movies are better.
That's what's so hard about these.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if we were ranking Marvel movies, we know the ones that are down towards the bottom. We know the ones that are like top tier, and then
it's kind of just one of those that you want to throw in the middle. That's
exactly.
like it's not as bad as the worst, but it's not going to be the top either. Like it's a middle of the road one for you.
Yeah. I like it a lot. It's the beginning of the series. Like I said before, I like how it's kind of like refreshing if you watch all of them and go back. Yeah, I just think it's a great all-around movie.
Was I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
I was making the wobbles.
All right.
Wobble, baby, wobble, baby,
Number
wobble.
3. Top 3.
Number 3 for me is Half-Blood Prince.
I disagree.
I love the potions class stuff because I think there was a big mistake in like movies like 3, 4, and 5. Maybe not. No, not 3. I'm sorry. 4 and 5. I think they really just dropped the ball on showing us them learning in school. They focused way too much on other stuff, and some of the stuff that I feel like the movies overall could do better at was actually show us them learning. Like that's the reason why the first movie has a lot of good parts, because they're in classrooms and they're learning, and it shows like 6 different classes in that movie.
That's
and then
true.
the rest of the movie you maybe see them in class twice in the movie, and then the rest of them they're just walking through hallways and stuff.
So my number 3 is Half-Blood 2.
I disagree.
So I love it. The same reasons that you love it. You get to see them in that potions class. Slughorn is amazing. Like the whole like trying to get Harry.
The
and
scene
Slughorn
where Harry
together.
drinks the liquid luck is awesome.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hilarious.
Or when he gives it to Ron.
but
Yeah.
doesn't give it to him.
Yeah, that's amazing too.
But I just love. But I will say that might be some of the best acting that Daniel Radcliffe does in the series. Is
Yeah.
after he drinks the liquid luck. It's like Hagrid's. It just feels like the place to be tonight.
Yeah.
And then like when he's walking, he's like, "I'm going to Hagrid's." Like it's he's a very dear friend of mine. And I was like wishing to like give him a visit. Harry. Son.
That
When
is good.
and it's like, I can't let you like go out like this late. It's like, well, by all means, come along then. Don't forget the pincers. Yeah,
That's
I
all
just think
great.
I think the acting in that movie is really fun. I think the whole stuff with Ron and Hermione. I mean, that's pretty much the first time you actually see Hermione start to show feelings towards Ron. So I actually think that's set up really well over kind of end of 5, 6, 7, and part 2. I think they do a good thing there that they didn't do with Ginny and Harry. Ginny and Harry, I feel like in the movies is so awkward, and they don't do a good job of setting it up at all. I'm not saying they shouldn't end up together, especially if you read the books. They definitely should end up together. But in the movies, it's just like
No, I'm not.
So
All right,
stupid,
can I
like-
say my favorite spell comes into play in this movie? Sectum Sempra. It's the best spell that I can ever think
This
of.
guy never shuts up about it.
Oh, I love it.
even though it's
so
only
much.
successfully been used in the movies one time. Like
It's just so awesome against Draco. But I
a good
also
scene.
love at the end where
Hold up.
Hermione
Well-
comes to Harry, like at the end when they're in the clock tower or astronomy tower, and they're talking. And he's like, "I'm gonna have to leave and stuff," and she's like, "I admire your bravery, but I'm coming. Like we're coming with you."
Like, why wouldn't we come with
Yeah.
you? Like, this is dumb.
All right. The reason why I disagree on 3 points.
Oh, Lord.
Oh
On
God.
3. 1, the comedy is awkward.
I don't think it's awkward.
Enforced.
I don't think it's I think it works. I'm not saying the comedy should have been there, but I think for the movie, not the book, for the movie, I think it works. If it just...
You always try and bring the book in. You're the worst.
I
at
didn't.
that.
All right. 2, the Harry Ginny stuff.
Yeah, their first kiss
That's
was really
real
weird.
That's real weird.
In the room of requirement.
Yeah.
And then she just disappears.
Yeah. I don't need to say much. But the third one, I think is the most important. It's a break in the dark, the dark tone. I feel like.
I feel like you almost needed that though.
I know, like, Dumbledore dies. Yeah, that's pretty damn dark. But, like,
I agree.
3, 4, 5, very dark. Then we got 6, who's semi-dark, semi-comedic, semi-rom-com.
I think...
And then we go straight into 7, part 1.
I think that I agree, but at the same time, again, like Adam said, we kind of needed a little levity before it got just stupid dark in the last one. Like
Okay.
if it was just starting from 3, dark, really dark, scary dark in the very last movie, we'd just be depressed by the end of it all. The only problem in the comedy that I have throughout the entire movie is the scene after Ron gets poisoned.
Yeah.
When he...
That's the main one that I always think of.
Yeah, because then like it's a really like scary scene, and like Harry saves him, and Slughorn's just sitting there like, I don't know what's going on, and then he wakes up and he just says the dumb line of like, these girls are gonna kill me. I'm like, dude, you almost literally
Yeah.
just died.
And
like,
then it cuts to him in the hospital.
right, it should have just cut straight to him like going, and then he's in the hospital.
All right.
So
I haven't said my number 3 yet.
Oh yeah.
Part 1. I love the darkness. I love how slow it is because it shows them.
It is probably the best acting that all 3 of them do in any of the movies.
I love the scene in Godric's Hollow.
See,
Yes, I do like that one.
I'm not a big fan of that scene.
Really?
Wait,
I
which
like.
one?
I don't like Nagini.
No.
I
Okay.
like the
build-up.
grave and everything like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like that's
Merry
amazing.
Christmas, Harry.
Yeah.
I think Deathly Hallows 1 has a lot of great just them moments. Like, you know, when Ron's wearing the Horcrux around his neck and it's like starting to fit, which is...
You feel the tension.
Dude, I will say, like, you want to talk about straight up ripping off Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
that was straight up ripping off Lord of the Rings. It's like whoever was wearing the ring around their neck or was like wearing it for a long period of time, it just bore on them. Like Frodo was a garbage human being by the end of it all. Like, I mean, it worked a little bit faster in this movie with the Horcruxes, but and also the Sword of God or Gryffindor. I'm like, dude, like, why did it take 6 weeks to get here? Like, why? As soon as I found the Horcrux, a brave Gryffindor in need needed it more than anybody else in the world.
Well, it didn't appear to me in the thing. Snape put it there.
Snape put it where?
In the lake.
He froze it. He unfroze it, put it in the bottom, and then froze the lake.
Yeah, because the portrait of Dumbledore told him to put. That's why there was a doe in the forest.
Well, I know the doe was there from Snape. I thought that.
Well, because his Patronus led him to the sword, which Snape put underneath the lake.
Okay. Well, either way, the moment when like Ron like loses his crap because he thinks Harry and Hermione are a thing, like that's a great scene when he leaves. He's like, no, you don't know how it feels. Your parents are dead. You don't have anyone else.
It's dark.
And also when he comes back and he's like, Harry, and he's asking Harry, he's like, do you think she'll ever forgive me? And he's like, well, if you keep on talking about
the
that
light
pass
through your
heart.
That's good.
And I do like when he like shows up with the Sword of Gryffindor or whatever,
Up the locket, like,
and then Hermione just comes and starts hitting him like you idiot, Ronald Weasley. You idiot. So number two. My number 2 is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes.
I love this movie. I think it's the best edited film. I think it's the best shot film. It looks good. Best Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher in the entire series.
I agree.
Like,
I have 3.
I think Lupin was such a good character to add. The conversations that he has with Harry, like on the bridge and stuff, about his parents and about stuff like that. I'm like, dude, So this is because this was actually the first time everybody else talked about his parents, like you have your mother's eyes and all this other bullshit.
But he hasn't really met somebody that actually knew her
and knew his parents like close, like they were like close friends. Like the Weasleys weren't really close friends with the Potters, even though they were part of the Order. They weren't really close to them. And then like Dumbledore and McGonagall, they were professors of them. They didn't really, but they weren't like buddies and like or anything like that. Like so see actually. Hear from someone who was a big deal in their life. I think it was important for Harry growing up. He taught him probably the most important spell he's learned in all of the books that saved his ass more than once, and he's used it like in 4 different books or 4 different movies, I would say. I love the werewolf stuff at the end. I think it's like, again, the shift in tone, it wasn't so drastic that it felt like a different series. It was just good enough to change it to a dark tone, but not change the feel of the movie. Like it still felt like Harry Potter.
Yeah. Well, I put 3 as my 2. I love it because like we get some comedy in it, backed by dark. Because like think of the first scene.
But that's the same reason you said you didn't like 6.
I think 6 overused it. I think 3 was a lot better. Because the first scene we see...
beat loads of times.
Well, because like the first scene we see was he blow up Suzanne. Or Aunt Marge. And then later on we see... what is it? What's the other comedy part? Crap.
You get some comedy with the Boggart.
That's right, okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But then we also see some like... happy times when he's flying on the Hippogriff.
Oh, that's one of the best scenes. When the Hippogriff, the music, when he's flying across the lakes, he's doing the "I'm the King of the World" from Titanic on it. Like,
but then at the end when he gets his new broom,
the firebolt, but then we also get like, literally
the Mortar's map.
Yeah, we get the Hippogriff dying, he died in the original timeline, technically.
No, I think so.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he died, and then they went back, saved him, and then the other guy chopped
That's not how the time works.
Every time they do it, it's as if they always went
No,
back.
it's not.
Or else they would have never gotten hit.
They wouldn't have got
They
hit by
would've
those
never
rocks in
gotten
the back of the
rocks.
head. Remember? Lupin wouldn't have ran away from Harry in the first timeline. So the way time works is circular. So basically, every time it's just going to keep looping like that.
See, because they all looked away when the execution went.
Now maybe like
I feel
maybe in some other timeline, like way before that we didn't see, there was a timeline where he did die, and then
But
they use it
feel
at the
like he
end.
died.
But I feel like once
Nope.
they do it, once they do it once, it's a
That's-
constant loop.
Okay, but then we also get the relationship between Lupin, and we also get to see to the end of his relationship with Sirius. So,
I also love it because there's really no one cares about, like, Voldemort really doesn't even have a story in this one, other than Peter Pettigrew giving them up to Voldemort. Voldemort has almost zero to do with this entire movie, and it's basically just its own singular story about Sirius Black finding him, figuring out the truth. It has nothing to do with a Horcrux. It has nothing to do with Voldemort. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. So that's why another reason I like it. And the last shot when he's flying on the broom, it's so cool the way they do it, because they let it, like, his face is like stretched at the end, but they do that because it looks like when the Dementors do it, but he's smiling. So they do that on purpose. Number 2.
Sorcerer's Stone.
I think I knew that for you.
So I just love this movie. First hour. I mean, the whole movie is amazing. That first hour just makes me feel like I'm with him. It's just like so amazing. I get like butterflies in my stomach before I even watch the movie. Like, I just love this movie so much. And the only reason it's my number 2 is because an amazing.
we all have the same one
Yeah.
for our number 1.
Yeah, well, so we're just all going to say it? Like,
I mean,
part two.
yeah, part 2.
Deathly
Like,
Hallows
come
Part
on.
2. Deathly Hallows Part 2
Like,
for sure.
It's
It
the
is.
perfect end
And-
and the perfect war movie.
I mean, and there's no standing around in this
No.
movie.
It's
It
go,
is
go,
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 go, go.
the entire movie. And the few scenes that are, I guess, quote unquote, slow are so good. And they do them brilliant. The whole beginning of the movie, having like nobody say a word for like the first 4 minutes, and it's like it shows Hogwarts, it shows that great shot of Snape standing over him, like just feeling every emotion. He's feeling guilty. He's like, I don't know if this is all going to work. Was it all for nothing? Did we kill Dumbledore for nothing? And Harry's not going to win.
Yeah.
And like he's worried about the state of things. And then you cut to Dobby's grave.
Right.
Still nobody saying anything. Harry and Ron sitting at the table. Harry's up looking at the mirror from Dumbledore's Albus Dumbledore's brother. So he's seeing him. He's like, who is this?
Then we cut to Ollivander.
Well, no. The first person who talks is Luna.
Yeah.
Luna.
About the little shell.
She's like, this is a lovely place or whatever. So that was Bill and Fleur's, I guess, home or safe house that they used as for the order. But then the first one they go to is Griphook.
Oh, okay, it's Griphook.
He's like, I need to talk to the goblin, or like that. And so, yeah. And I love how he's like, there's so many things in this movie, kind of like the way Endgame does it, though, that call back to stuff in the first movie and stuff like that. Like, Lord, having Ollivander in it, having them go back to Gringotts again, just like the first movie, and Griphook is the one taking them through it, just like Griphook was the one to take Harry Potter to his vault in the first one. And like once you get to the Battle of Hogwarts, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
Snape's death, amazing scene. Like, it's so good because he's just still like, and you feel so bad because you're like, as soon as Voldemort goes, like, you've been like a great like man for me, Severus. I'm like, oh no, it's over. He's done.
Well, I like the scenes in the Pensieve.
Oh,
Or
the
scenes
flashbacks,
yeah.
which were added for the movie, and they weren't in the book. Like the one where Snape went to Godric's Hollow, that was never in the book. That was
I think it was a great.
Snape gave up so much.
oh my god,
Yeah.
for Lily,
And for just
all
life.
all this time, always.
Always.
There's so many quotes from that book and movie that are some of the most famous quotes from the entire series. Like, always might be the most famous quote from Harry Potter. Like, you say always like that, somebody immediately goes, oh, you're talking about Harry Potter, aren't you? Snape.
Well, let's finish this how we started.
Together. Ew. The only problem I have is the way Voldemort dies.
What?
I think it was kind of anticlimactic. With
Really?
all his build up to them fighting each other,
And
he just kind
when
of all he does is now basically Avada Kedavra rebounded on him, and that's why he died. It wasn't because he got disarmed. It was because he was using Avada Kedavra on Harry with the wand that technically belonged to Harry, and wands can't harm their own masters, which also is a slight loophole in why I always have a problem with the Snape dying scene, because he thinks that it's Snape's wand.
Yeah.
So he uses the wand to slit Snape's throat. If it was really Snape's wand, it wouldn't have done that, because the wand can't harm its own master.
Well, it can harm, but it just can't fatally.
No, like you can't hurt the other person who owns it. You can hurt other people, and Voldemort had trouble with it. Then how did what?
Then Voldemort killed himself.
Yeah, I mean rebounded.
Voldemort killed himself when he killed Harry in the forest.
Well, yeah, because the only reason that Harry didn't die was because when he got hit with Avada Kedavra, the only thing that died was the Horcrux.
But the wand still hit Harry.
Correct, but it killed the Horcrux. It didn't actually harm Harry. Harry was fine. Harry didn't even... Harry went into that little purgatory, but that 5-minute scene was actually, in real life, probably more like that. Because remember, we get straight back to it, and
Voldemort's like...
Well, he's on the ground. He's like, oh, what happened? And that's when Voldemort knew. I think Voldemort, even though, she said he's dead or whatever, and he's like, Harry Potter's there. I think there's a part of him that was like, that felt a little too easy, and why did that hurt me?
Yeah, exactly.
That felt really weird when I did that. So yeah, I think that's my only thing about it. But I think I would have loved if Harry would have freaking disarmed him, grabbed the Elder Wand, and then double wanded him into oblivion. And then honestly, I would have wished that Harry would have used the Killing Curse on Voldemort. I know only bad people really use it, but dude,
well, Could you imagine just him going, Avada Kedavra? I
just want to hear Harry say it. Because there's the thing. I think that would have been a real good full circle thing. First of all, because Voldemort's used it on him twice. Yeah. I think he's earned the right to use it, not go to jail for it.
Well, he's definitely used it on him more than twice.
He has successfully used it, in quotes, twice on him. But with if he would have used it, Harry would have used all 3 unforgivable curses throughout the series, because he uses Crucio one time against Bellatrix, and he pulls it back pretty quick. Yeah. I like the way Voldemort said Crucio, and then he used the Imperius Curse in Gringotts.
Yes,
and actually Ron uses it too.
Confundus.
Ooh, he goes Imperio.
No, he uses Confundus.
Come on, Adam, back me up on this. He says Confundo. Imperio.
He didn't say Imperio.
I'm 100,000%. We're going to pull this up right now. Gringotts, Bank Scene, Deathly Hallows.
I feel like he uses Confundo. I don't think he uses Imperio.
Here, we're pulling it up right now.
You got to follow, yeah.
Here we go. All right. So for you guys that are listening. Oh, we missed it. It's right before that. All right, so if you're listening, we're pulling it up right now.
There he used it.
Huh.
Imperio
really?
uses the Imperius Curse. So he's used 2 of the 3 unforgivable curses.
Huh.
And if he used the 3rd one, and he was the Master of Death at one point.
Yeah. That would have been
that's another theory that is why he died. It wasn't because he didn't die. It wasn't because it was the Horcrux inside him. It's because Harry at that point was the Master of Death, because he owned the Cloak of Invisibility.
From his dad.
He was the rightful owner of the Elder Wand, and he had the Resurrection Stone.
Yes.
And basically, so when he walks up to Voldemort, we can't see. So remember, he makes his parents and Sirius and Lupin all come back, and he talks to them. They're still next to him when he walks up to Voldemort. Because remember, they say, we'll stay with you till the end, but we can't see it. Voldemort can't see them. Only Harry can see them. So at that point, And why did he drop it though? Like God, like hold on to that, bro. Like at least so. If, I mean, it's not like it's a weapon, but like.
Well, I think he was learning from the second Pebble.
I think that is one of the most BS.
Because he probably would have kept trying to use it.
Yeah,
And,
it's one of the most BS things too.
You think about that, or when he breaks
compared to the
other
Elder
two.
Wand and
the other two are awesome. The
Yeah.
Resurrection Stone is garbage. It's like, oh cool, I can see a ghost and talk to it for like a minute, and then they go back. Like,
yeah. But we haven't even talked about the last scene.
19 years later,
Yeah.
they nailed that in the movie.
Absolutely.
They nailed that because originally there were two different things. Originally they were going to use different actors, and
That
that
would've
were
been
just
bad.
older.
Yeah.
I don't think it. I don't know. I don't know if it would have been bad, but I feel like you have to. This was with 10 years with these same actors. You have to finish with them.
Yeah.
You can't like just let three randos come in and finish off the series on the high point.
Well, I even just thought about the original music, them painting back.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see Harry, Hermione, Ron.
I like how Ginny's in the shop and then they cut out
Yeah.
Ginny and they zoom in and it's just those three. I wish the only problem I have with that end scene is obviously you can't let it go on for too long. You have like a Return of the King ending where there's like 9 endings.
Yeah.
But like I wish I would have gotten like a chance to like I wanted to hear from Draco. I wanted to hear like dude like I would love to see it if just like Draco like and Harry walking past each other. It's like Draco.
Well, don't they give a
Potter.
little nod?
Huh?
Don't they give a little nod? I forgot.
They may look at each other, but
Okay.
I don't know, but I don't even know if that's who he's looking at. Like,
Yeah.
because it shows Draco looking up or whatever. And by the way, yikes, Ron put on like 90 pounds. and
okay.
looks
What
like,
is your favorite scene in the whole movie?
in Deathly Hallows Part 2? Oof.
Mine is Neville's speech when Harry falls out of Hagrid's arms.
Dude, but why did they delete the scene of Draco throwing the wand to Harry?
That would have been so good.
Because that would have been a full circle for his character. And then have him walk off away, from the battle. like, dude, but like, okay, what I know it would be changing the books, but dude, what if Draco grabbed the wand, threw it to Harry, and then like Voldemort saw him in a Vada Kedavra Draco?
Dude, that would be insane.
Dude, I don't even care if went against the book. That would have been like dark. It'd have been like, oh my god, like Draco basically just risked his life for Harry. When did you ever think that would happen?
But yeah, he does. So I just pulled up the last little scene. So they just went through the 9 3/4 wall.
I think Jenny's the only one that looks a little not older. Like,
Yeah, see, he gives them a little look. It's fine though.
You have your bag? Jumper? And God, I can't get over how bad Ron looks.
Yeah, he
Like-
put
He
on
looks
some-
rough in part 2, like the
Yeah.
actual part 2, not 19 years later.
Well, I'm like, dude, like, did you just get married, Hermione? It's like, I'm letting myself go. I've hit the
Well,
jackpot.
He had 2
Because
kids.
Hermione,
Yeah.
Hermione looks great. Like, she looks
Well, I
fine.
mean, can you make Emma Watson look bad?
Right, true.
Well-
but then, and what's funny is in the books, Hermione was not supposed to be pretty.
No.
In the book, she's actually like she has buck teeth and she's kind of like ugly, like she's the
Yeah.
ugly duckling.
Emma
And
Watson is not ugly.
but like J.K. Rowling said, the first time she talked to Emma Watson when they were casting was over the phone, and she was like, like Emma Watson's like the way she's talking so fast, whenever like you're Hermione, like this is exactly what I pictured. But then she's like, if I would have saw a picture of her before I heard her, I probably would have been against the casting because it's like this
She's too
little
cute.
girl's so cute,
Yeah.
and Hermione's supposed to look so that there's one scene in Sorcerer's Stone where they put the buck teeth in, and it was the very last scene of the movie.
Because she lost teeth.
No, she was in. It was in the.
No?
Yes,
No, I just looked it up today.
she had them in.
No, those were her teeth, Adam. And the very first scene they filmed in the entire movie was the last scene. They filmed the last scene before they filmed anything else. And they tried the buck teeth. That's when they also tried the contacts for Harry to make his eyes green.
Uh-huh.
And then they ended up not using them. And
Because
he
he
had
was
an allergic
allergic.
reaction, but it actually kind of helped because once they took him out, he had really watery eyes. And it helped for when he was looking at the pictures to get a little like emotional or whatever. But they actually had to, like, you can kind of tell that she's got him in the last scene,
Uh-huh.
but they CGI a little bit of it away to kind of chop it away a little bit because they were big.
Yeah.
Because they bothered her. They said, like, after the first scene they filmed, they bothered her so bad that they were like, no, we're just not gonna worry about it. Like, why would you split the buck teeth? Like, that just seems like something that you just wouldn't really care about.
My favorite scene is between him, his mom, dad, Sirius, Lupin.
See, I hate that scene.
Really? Why?
Well, I don't hate that scene. It's a bad word. I I've been talking to you every time I watch it now. I talk to you about it with the Resurrection Stone scene because I'm like, Harry, talk to your dad. Like, he doesn't even talk to his dad until his dad talks to him.
Yeah.
Like, he talks to his mom a bunch. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. You have like never actually talked to your parents except for that one little moment in Goblet of Fire, and then he turns to Sirius, starts talking to Sirius. I'm like, your dad is right. You've actually been alive with Sirius and talked to him. Your dad's right there. You talked to Lupin first too, and it's like, and Remus, your son. It's like, I'm like, how about your dad, Harry? And he's right there.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if there was just Harry kind of like, all right, Dad, I've seen some stuff the past year. You were kind of a dick.
Okay.
It was
maybe it's not that whole scene. But it was him asking Sirius how fast it is.
I like that part. It's like, how does it like does it hurt dying?
Yeah.
It's like it's quicker than falling asleep. Which, if it's my version of falling asleep, I'm garbage. It'd take me 4 hours to die. I just think that movie's so good, and then like I think the only thing they did weird with Voldemort throughout the whole series was they made him yell too much. I think like all of his spells, he's
desperate.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like he's very desperate because the wand's not working for him. He's losing Horcruxes.
Oh, the scene where they I think they kill the goblet, the little chalice or whatever,
and they destroy the shield.
and then Voldemort feels it, and then just blows that whole shield up with one shot out by itself. I'm like, oh,
the zoom in
God.
on the wand, you can see like it cracking.
Mm-hmm. Dude, it cracked like 9 times. But how's this wand even still working,
right?
bro? And then
why did it take Harry so long to break it? Like, that thing should have been.
Oh yeah, that wasn't in the book, was it? Him breaking it.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I can't remember.
I think they hid it. I don't think they.
Right. I like him breaking it.
I like it too.
But I think there's like a rumor that he uses the Elder Wand to fix his
old
wand because you usually can't fix wands, but the Elder Wand's so powerful that you can. But God, imagine walking around the Elder Wand, dude. I'd be like, totally gonna break it, guys. Totally gonna break it. I broke it, guys. Like,
through his old wand.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, Harry, that was your old one. No, it wasn't. No, you're wrong. But then
Harry's hard to
you're wrong. For all of us, I sent him a text and all I said was, "You're wrong," and then he immediately replied back, "Harry's heart did beat for us, for all of us." But then I love when they destroy the diadem, and Voldemort turns, starts walking away, and like the one Death Eater dude who's
the minister.
Who's basically the new. He's the new Wormtail because he was such a puss. He was like, my lord.
Well, was he under the Imperius Curse?
I don't know. I thought it was somebody that they just put in there.
See, since we're talking Fudge.
Oh God, I hate him. I hate Fudge. You want to talk about the worst minister, and then you can actually look up videos like why he's the worst minister of magic of all time.
Much. He denied Voldemort the.
They literally could have they could have stopped.
Wizard
They could have stopped Voldemort before Deathly Hallows, for all of it, if they would have just acknowledged it and then all been working together. But then because of that, like, the ministry was so easily corrupted and got into by the Death Eaters, and like it was able to be just basically like Voldemort had a hand in the ministry after that. By the way, though, is it like confirmed that Umbridge is like? Is she under the Imperius Curse, or was she just that bad and she ended up siding with Voldemort?
I'm going to go with she was just that bad.
She was wearing a Horcrux on her neck. I'm not sure how she got that. I can't remember how she got it.
Well, she
it explains it in the books, but
she was in the Battle of Hogwarts during the 6th book. She hit Fang.
Ugh. Oh yeah, and then like it was like the 3 people from the Ministry show up, and then like Hagrid blasts them all, like gets them all out of there, because one of them hits McGonagall, right, with like a stupefy spell or something, and Hagrid was having none of that garbage. There's just so much in those movies that I feel like you can watch them again and again, and you're always going to find something new. You're always going.
That's what I love. Is I always, even though I've watched them so many times, I always like link something.
I love the theory videos that come from the movies. I recently watched basically someone explain, because I was not about to read it because I've heard how garbage it is, Cursed Child.
You read it?
No.
don't
I
want
don't
to.
want to read it. First of all, it's a play, so it reads like a play.
I liked how it read. It's just that the story was.
Someone said it was like it was so far fetched. It was literally like fan fiction. It's like somebody wrote fan fiction.
But here's the thing.
Because J.K. didn't actually write it. She was just a consultant on it.
Somebody else wrote it. I forget his name. I don't want to know his name.
If you just told me the basis of the story, it actually sounds kind of cool on its surface.
I don't like how they introduce the time turner.
I like how they bring the time turner back. I like how they go back to the Goblet of Fire. They go back to things that we see. It would have been like the end game of the Harry Potter world if they would have actually made a movie of it. But it just, a lot of stuff was really far fetched. Like, why does Harry
has a kid?
Has a kid with Bellatrix.
Yeah.
And then like,
Nice.
yeah, that's a scene that I don't want to watch. Mostly for the Voldemort stuff, because Helen Bonham Carter is actually very beautiful. Not in the movies though. Like they make her look pretty rough in the movies, but. Freaking what?
He said that's such like a little Christian boy. Like, she's just so beautiful.
So she's very beautiful. I didn't say she's so beautiful.
Very beautiful.
But the stuff with like like the saving Cedric Diggory and stuff. Now again though, on the
Cedric
surface,
comes back as a Death Eater,
and like it all still happens the same way. Like except like Voldemort wins because Cedric's saved because Cedric becomes a Death Eater for some reason. That's weird. But I will say again, if you just clean up some stuff. There's something there, and it's a cool story, and it could be better as a video game or something like that. But if they made a movie and they brought everybody back,
they made a play.
But if they made a movie and they brought all the actors back, and because now they're almost age appropriate, to do it, you bring all the because it's been
the kids aren't
they would be actually don't use the same kids from
that's what's talking about
the movie or whatever. But let's just say at this point like. How old would they be? So Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out
2011.
It'll be 10 years old next year. So basically 10 years later, so they're all probably almost 30.
They're all 30.
I think Radcliffe's younger.
No.
Watson's the oldest, right?
Watson's the youngest.
Really?
She's 30. Daniel's 31. Rupert's 32.
It's not like they're that different.
No.
Right, but they could definitely pull it off. But if they brought them all back and then they do this Endgame style movie where they use the time turner and you're going back and seeing scenes from the previous movies and they somehow do it great with CGI that you can fit them in there and stuff, like because they go back to Goblet of Fire in the play and like they try to save Cedric and they go to all the different challenges again, so you see it. It'd be cool for Harry's kids to see his dad. Like
they try to make Cedric lose.
See, but this also wouldn't happen because every single actor is mad at J.K. Rowling right now.
Yeah, because all the that's not.
Yeah, we're not getting into that. But
I'm just saying that it wouldn't.
I don't know. I just think that it would be cool. And then like the other far fetched part of it was like what Albus all of a sudden hates his dad and wants his dad to die that came out of nowhere because this is supposed to be his second year or third year or whatever, the Curse of the Child.
It goes from his first to his, I think, fourth or third or something like that.
I was like, as soon as they started watching, I was watching a theory video about it, and as soon as it was Voldemort's daughter basically uses the Imperius Curse to basically make herself buddy with Harry's son and stuff, and hey, don't you want to go help me kill your dad or whatever? It's no, why would you do that? I don't know, but
I think it's a good stopping point.
Good stopping point. Well, guys, that was episode 18 of On Your Left podcast.
Tell us your list.
Yeah, make sure in the comment section you put your rankings down there, or if you agreed with our rankings, why or why not. Just throw out your comments down below. This is going to be up on the YouTubes, so make sure you like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe so you don't miss a single thing from the channel. And as always, guys, make sure you stay tuned.
Stay iconic.
And cue music.
Holy Grail.